Hello and welcome to my channel. Tonight we are going to make a budget-friendly but very flavoursome shepherd's pie. So, quick talk through what we've got. Rather than using lamb mince, I'm actually going to use a shoulder of lamb steak. That's going to be cut thin, so it's going to be nice and meaty. We've got some potatoes, some carrots, onion, parsnip. We're going to have mushrooms and celery to have like a nice veg base within this. I'm going to cook out the meat with pearl barley. Now, I've never used pearl barley before. It took us ages to find this in the supermarket. So this will be an experience. Lots of nice flavours. We're going to have a nice cheese topping. Should be absolutely incredible. So what we're going to do is I want to start the prep. I'm not going to do it all on camera. So I've had this meat in the freezer for the last 20 minutes or so, just so it cuts nice and easy. And I'm going to do nice thin slices. And this is going to replace the mince element in the shepherd's pie. Now, this meat, I'm using half a pack. This piece of meat itself probably costs us about £3.50. The meat in the supermarket, I think, was about £4.50 for a similar amount. But I think with this, it's going to be much meatier texture. You're going to get much better flavour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dice this up small, same with all of the veg, except for the potatoes. That'll be done later. And then I'll bring you back, and I'll explain how we're building up the flavour profile and why we're doing what we're doing. So we'll be back soon. Hello and welcome back. And all you've missed is about 20 minutes of meal prep. So I've diced up the onion, I've diced up the celery, the carrot, the parsnip, I've diced up the mushrooms, I've diced up the meat. I have washed some pearl barley. I've done about 75 grams. I've made up some beef stock. That was just using cubes. But if you got proper beef stock or something a bit better, use it obviously. So I've got this preheating. I'm going to use a little drop of oil, and we're going to make a start. So I'll go through the various steps, and I will cut a lot of this out. So first thing I'm going to start with is the onion. Nice little sizzle. I am going to turn the heat down. I want the sizzle to start, but not anything beyond that. Put it all in there. Okay, I'm going to trusty spatula. So we're looking at the fried onions here. We're looking to soften them down. So I'm going to give them maybe a minute just to start off. And I am immediately going to add a little bit of salt. Just a little bit to start. You know what? I'm actually going to get the next part in straight away. I'm going to do the celery. There's about 2 sticks of celery I've chopped up. I got that cheap as well. Yellow sticker bargain. Otherwise it wouldn't be here. So I'm also going to add my carrot and parsnip. Now, the carrot, the onion, the celery is something called a mirepoix. It's used in French cooking a lot, or used sofrito, which is similar, but in Italy. Now, I'm adding parsnip as well, not because it adds anything in particular, but because I had a parsnip to use up, so I'm going to throw that in as well. And what this does, this gives us a base to work with, a flavour base. It gives us pepperiness, a bit of sweetness, all the good stuff there. Now, you don't need to do this bit. You could just do onion, but you know we're looking to make something good here. There's 1,000,001 shepherd's pie recipes out there. But I need to show why mine is worth following. So I'm going to sweat this off for a few minutes. I probably wanted about half the size of what it is. Use just a couple more salt. Actually, now is a good time to put a bit of Worcestershire sauce in. I'll put a bit more in later, but this just gets a bit of flavour into the onion and so on. As this adds elements of flavour itself, it's going to add a bit of acidity. And yeah, right. So as I say, I'm going to give this a minute or two. Okay, things are starting to reduce down, so now I'm going to add some mushrooms. These give us nice umami flavour, and they add to the meatiness of the dish. So get that all in, and we'll give it a nice stir. Again, I'm going to give it a few minutes. Okay, this has started to reduce. I'm actually going to put my meat in now. I'm going to pop this into the middle, all in one go. And what I want this to do is start to brown off a little. You could have cooked this separate, but that's not. I'm just trying to do it in one pan. See if I'm washing up. A bit more salt in there. I'm going to start adding some more seasoning now. I'm going to put a little bit of white pepper in. You don't want to overdo it. Because it's lamb, I'm also going to put a bit of mint in. Quite a lot of it. That's fine. I definitely meant to put that mint in. Okay. Okay, so I've mixed the lamb through now. Next step I'm going to do is add in this pearl barley. Actually, I've never cooked with this before. I've washed it, but apparently I don't need a soak. Sounds crunchy, like rice. What I think I'm going to do straight away is put in my stock. So this is just a stock cube, and it's beef. You might be asking, well, why beef? Why not lamb? Because I don't have a lamb stock cube, and I didn't think to get any. That's okay. That's okay. Right. We'll mix that through, and that'll come back to the boil in a minute. I'm also going to add a couple of cloves of garlic, which I've chopped up fine. Just add an extra little element. And I'm going to add some whole grain mustard. Just add something extra. It's hard to describe what each element does when you're adding so many in. But everything I'm just doing is designed to build up the flavour profile, make it interesting. I'm also going to add a bit more Worcestershire sauce. This time I won't just like burn off in the pan. So I'm going to mix this, give this a mix around. And as things stand, this is way too much to go in the bowl that I've got, well, in the bacon dish I've got ready. So I'm going to cook this down until I'm happy with that. Because it's too wet, it's too big, so I need it to reduce down. And what I'll do is I'll bring you back once that's done. We'll show you what the end result is. I may need to add a little bit of flour to thicken this up, but hopefully not. I'm hoping enough will come out of the meat and the vegetables to give us a nice thick sauce. But we'll find out when we get back. And we're back. So I've cooked the lamb mixture for about 40 minutes. It's cooked, it's almost got its own sauce now. I didn't have to add any flour, so everything that's contributing to the thickness has came out of the ingredients. But let's have a little taste. Okay, meaty. I'll say that. You can taste the lamb, you can taste the mint, bit of pepper, bit of sweetness from the carrot. a very umami depth of flavour. But yeah. Okay, so I've made too much for the dish I was planning to use, but that's fine. I think, anyway. Let's get that into the dish. So I do like a nice big layer of the mince. Actually, it might actually work better than I thought. Okay. I'm going to pat this down. I want it roughly even across the board. And while the camera's been off, I've chopped up some potatoes and I'm about to boil them. So we'll get them going now. We'll come back when I'm ready to mash up the potatoes. We'll see what flavours are going to go in there. So we'll be back shortly. I'm very happy with that. I'll put the right one on. Get back soon. Hello and welcome back. So I've boiled the potatoes and I've allowed them to cool a little bit. So I'm going to add a good dollop of butter in. But I'll always make things good. I would normally use milk, but it turns out I'm out of milk. So butter it is. Touch of salt, just a little bit. I'm actually going to leave it quite light on the seasoning here because there's quite a lot already in here. So I'm just going to give this a quick mash up. It's a bit firmer than I intended. I think I've let it cool a little bit too much. It's fine though. I can still work with this. So with potato, obviously I would normally add some milk as well. You can add your creams or creme fraiche if you're feeling fancy. But I'm very much a butter and milk guy. Okay. So I'm not going to go too fancy on this. But we are going to get this layered on. So let's get it on now. I'm being impressed by the potatoes I've been getting the last year or so. They're very, lots of black bits and greyness in them. So anyway, let's get this flattened down. And then we'll make it a bit more special. I mean, you could use things like smash. If you really wanted to use like shelf food. Wouldn't be anything wrong with that. Well, I'm not a big smash guy. I have it on occasion. Okay. So looks nice and flat. But now let's make this a bit more special. We'll take a fork and run some grooves into it. And now I'm going to try something I've never done before. Now, I was baking earlier and I've had some leftover egg wash from a pasty I was doing. I'm told, well, this isn't working like I'd hoped. Basically, I'm removing all the grooves. Right, I'm going to put the egg wash on, then I'm going to re-groove it. This will give it a bit of colour and it'll help it crisp up. Feels like all I've done is flatten it back down. Anyway, let's see, I can fix that. Okay, that'll do. I'm going to be light with this. Finally, we'll add a little bit of cheese. I just grated this earlier. This is a strong cheddar, so you can use whatever cheese you've got. I'm not trying to turn this into a pizza or anything, so it's going to be a little, just a little bit really. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake this for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to put it under the grill for a few minutes to try and get it a bit crispier. So when that's done, we'll come back and we'll have a look at what our end result is. So we'll be back shortly. And finally, we're back. So we've got our final result. Here's the dish. I reckon we've got 6 portions there. Could possibly use a gravy. That's 1 portion. Fills the plate. So let's get stuck in. I mean, let's get a bit of everything together first, and we'll break down the elements. That's very satisfying. Crispy top, meaty, well, creamy mashed potato, good flavour, meaty bottom. I don't know. But let's just try it all individually. So, despite us using the bulker, there's still plenty of lamb in there, so it's nice and meaty. But nicely peppery, nicely buttery, nice and minty. What you didn't have to do, mint. Cheese is okay. I think I've used the right amount. But it was a low fat cheese, so I don't think it's melted well. It's tasty, that's the main thing. Absolutely zero complaints about this. Quite proud of that, if I'm honest. Right. So yeah, so this might be a traditional food, but it's also, I've played around a lot with it. So please, when you're considering doing traditional meals, don't be afraid to put your own spin on it. Now, I'm not going to say this is like must be the way it's done, or it's like the genuine article, but it's just taking the concept and running with it. So, for more experiments like this, please like and subscribe. It's free, and it does a world of good for me. So, so please tell us your thoughts on this. Tell us what else you would have put in it if you wouldn't have put anything in it. Sorry, if there's anything you wouldn't have put in it. Yeah, get the discussion going, and I'll see you next time.